Reverend Bonnie has a church, E-I-E-I-O. And that church is full of peace, E-I-E-I-O. Well, there's peace, peace here, and a peace, peace there. Here's peace, there's peace, everywhere. Peace, peace. Reverend Bonnie has a church, E-I-E-I-O. Reverend Bonnie runs this place, E-I-E-I-O. And in this place is lots of love, E-I-E-I-O. There's love, love here, and love, love there. Here's love, there's love, everywhere. Love, love, Reverend Bonnie runs this place, E-I-E-I-O. And all that love is full of joy, E-I-E-I-O. All that love is full of joy, E-I-E-I-O. There's joy, joy here, and a joy, joy there. Here's joy, there's joy, everywhere. Joy, joy. This love is full of joy, E-I-E-I-O. Peace, love, and joy live in all of us, E-I-E-I-O. Oh, peace, love, and joy live in all of us, E-I-E-I-O. Peace, love, joy, peace, love, joy. Here it is, there it is, everywhere, everywhere. Peace, love, and joy live in all of us, E-I-E-I-O. There's no better place to be, let's go. There's no better place to be, let's go. There's peace, love, joy, food for the mind, lots of hugs, and everybody's kind. There's no better place to be, let's go. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, sing your joy in me, sing your joy into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, shine your light into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in, pour yourself in, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Oh, wonderful Spirit. So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Welcome to anybody who's visiting for the first time. Do we have any new hands here? Wow. Welcome. There's for those who are new here for the first time, there's a packet of information at the back there, and in it is a gift certificate in there to our bookstore. I'm new. And we invite you to check out our newsletter and website for all of the other groups and activities that take place here. This is a vibrant center. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of opportunities here. So please look at our newsletter and website so you can be in the know and find out what you'd like to do. There's upcoming workshops, and you can also pick up a flyer on your way out the door. And now that we are celebrating living everyday wonder through play, you want to make sure that you stay maybe after service today, because we're having a play date with Will Kilroy. I love a good play date. And we're also making plans for our next treasure sale to take place the last Saturday in April. So if you can help us with setup or on the day of sales, please let us know. And you can start bringing donations to the center on April 1st. And that is actually not an April Fool's joke. You can really bring stuff you don't need or want anymore, and we'll run it through our treasure sale. And now we have a very great
pleasure of welcoming some new members. And somebody actually pointed out to me that April 1st is a Friday, and we aren't open on a Friday, so it kind of was an April Fool's joke. We are open on Saturday. You can bring things starting that Saturday or that Sunday, and from then on throughout the week when we are open. Sorry about that. I know, I lied. I'm sorry. So one of the exciting things about being a community is that we grow. Look at this today. Have we not even... Thank you to everyone who's come back and all the visitors and new people. This is our first new member ceremony since last October. We're bringing some new folks on board, and I'm very excited about that. We have that joyous occasion of welcoming new people into the center of Las Cruces. We call it in the heart of Las Cruces. So what does it mean to be a member here? And I know for those of you who've gone through this, you've heard it before, but I always suggest that you listen to the words again and reaffirm your own commitment as a member unto yourselves. It is a commitment to spiritual growth in an atmosphere of freedom to grow spiritually at your own pace and to evolve your own working philosophy of ideas and beliefs. It is a commitment to building a life of joy, ease, and love in an environment where we recognize and embrace the importance of spiritual community in supporting and empowering our personal journey. What naturally flows is the growth of our community. It is an affirmation of alignment with the philosophy and the teachings of science of mind. It is an open statement in one's belief that their spiritual center is of great value personally. It is having a sense of ownership in our center and expressing that ownership through sharing of time, talent, and treasure. And so I want to recognize that that is what the members of the center are doing and what these 3 new members are coming here to join us to do. So at this time, I'm going to ask our board president to come forward and our 3 new members, Janice and Charles Fowler and Larry Sheffy. So, good morning. This is both a contemplative time and a joyous occasion. By choosing to become a member here at the center, you are making a commitment to grow spiritually and to focus this growth in fulfilling your future. For this is a place that believes that the spiritual power we seek already lives within us, eager to be discovered and expressed. Do you declare to commit to growth spiritually and express this growth in fulfilling your dreams? You have each heard this call of spirit, whose desire it is to express its greatness and magnificence through you and to grow and expand our spiritual community. You are living proof that spirit has a desire, its creation automatically responds. You are the living, breathing demonstration of God in action here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Las Cruces. In the words of Ernest Holmes, our founder, the essence of our teaching is, all is God or spirit, and God or spirit is all that there is. As you believe, so it is done unto you. Our duty in life is to love and live fully. And when you change your thinking, you all know this, right? What happens? You change your life. So by becoming a member, you are committing yourself to further exploring the universal truth teachings that this pathway that Ernest Holmes chose to call religious science or science of mind is as a teaching that we teach here at the center. Do you declare your commitment to the study and application of this universal truth into your own life as you understand it?
Yes.
By becoming a member, you are helping to make a difference in the world, and you are joining with like-minded people all over the world who share a common vision. You are joining people of all faiths that embody this universal truth, and it shares it across religions, ancient and new. CSL here in Las Cruces is a place where people grow, and we do that by teaching and practicing the universal spiritual principles captured in the science of mind, and we live our vision, a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Do you support this vision?
Yes.
Our desire is to live life fully through inspiration, education, spiritual community, and service. We do this through the 5 main spiritual principles receptive prayer or meditation, affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, spiritual study, service, and conscious giving. Do you support and hold in your heart the desire to live life fully in this way?
Yes.
We are a spirit-centered community of light, love, and laughter that honors and celebrates the many paths to God. We celebrate the diversity of all people, of all religions, and walks of life. Do you support and celebrate life in this way?
Yes.
So will you please sign our membership book, and Bob will give you a flower and your name tag. There. There's a paper towel if you need to. Welcome. So you now have the rights and responsibilities of voting members of this spiritual community. And we encourage you to attend our business meetings to cast your vote and our visioning sessions to contribute to the overall vision and direction of this center. And so now to you, the community, and even if you are not a member, you're part of our community, so if you'd like to stand, you can, or you can stay seated as you're comfortable. Do you agree to these new members to be their spiritual family, to welcome them and support them on this journey to which they have just committed? In recognition of the commitment that you have all made to your spiritual growth and to the growth of this center, it is our joy to welcome the three of you into our spiritual family. So please give them a welcome. In the past, we did all that hugging and welcoming them. If they are up for hugs, you can do that after the service. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always so fun to have new people come on board. So you have to sing. Oh, no, the next piece. Cool. Wait, yeah, we're going into prayer and silence. Took half of it. There it is. Yeah, she's doing all these hats today. You're doing the
And they
petition.
all have a bad hair day. Thanks. Let's get rid of that. That could just go away and not be in my face. So, yes. We believe in the power of prayer. I have to get on the mic again, don't I?
Hello, I'm having a low voice day.
We believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And we invite you to fill out a prayer request. They're in the pockets in the back of the chairs, and there's some at the back, I believe. And there's a God can at the back, because God can. And you can put your prayer request in there, or you can put it in the offering basket, offering plate as it comes around. And you can use our prayer request button on our website. We have a prayer team. It's made up of practitioners and ministers from the 4 local New Thought communities, and we'll all pray with you in regard to your request. And if you should have something you'd like a quick prayer treatment for after the service, anybody who's wearing one of these spanky things will be delighted to stand with you after service and do a quick prayer treatment. So fill out a gratitude card for what you're grateful for, because that's also the other half of affirmative prayer, is knowing it is so and acknowledging it when it is so. And now it is time for song, silence, and prayer. I love that we can just keep coming back. I love that we can just keep coming back and yet again come. And it doesn't matter because there is one mind, one heart, one love, one divine force field of realignment, which encompasses all that we are, which fills all that we are, and which is all that we are. We are one with this essence, with this love, with this great power to live creative, fruitful, loving, joyous lives. It is a choice we make through our conscious mental work to align with that which is. We are one. And so it is. The reading today will be really entertaining while I try to speak right into this mic and see this book. A freedom under compulsion would amount to the worst kind of bondage. The Bible says, if there had been any law whereby this freedom could be compelled, then verily, by the law would that freedom have been given. If there had been a way by which the divine creative principle could have compelled man to suddenly appear on the scene of experience full-orbed with all his freedom and still be an individual, then by the law this would have been done. But even God could not do this. The only way God can evolve a spontaneous individual is to let him alone and allow him or her to waken to himself. Behold, I stand at the door and knock.
I've wanted to do this song for a long time. Hey, boom, I've got a microphone again. Cuando todo lo que tenemos es lo que necesitamos y el amor de Dios para siempre estará para hacer su trabajo y vivir con la paz. Que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo. When all we have is all we need, and the love of the Lord will forever be. For to do thy work and to live in peace, that the promise of heaven may be with thee, that the promise of heaven may be with thee, that the promise of heaven may be with thee, that the promise of heaven may be with thee. Cuando todo lo que tenemos es lo que necesitamos y el amor de Dios para siempre estará para hacer su trabajo y vivir con la paz. Que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo, que la promesa del cielo esté contigo.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, both of you. Lovely harmony. You guys sound great together, don't they? Lillian and Sarah, thank you so much. Wow. I'm just so grateful. We are still sending our love to Mary Lynn through Trevor, who takes that back for us to her. Thank you, Trevor, again for being here. I know she is still recovering and so appreciative of the music that's coming into the center right now so she can have this break. So thank you all, and thank you again for bringing the music to us, and thank you all for being here. Wow, everybody for being back, and I'm back. Good morning. I was gone last Sunday. I was gone for about a week, and I had a lot of rest. We had snow, which I heard you all had here too, and I have also had quite a fun time of play as well. And so I want to thank the excellent team of people who have kept this place going even when I take a break. So thank you. It's fabulous. What a community we have. So when you think of human evolution, what do you think of? When you think of humankind evolving, what comes to mind? What's evolving? Huh? Java man? Okay. That was a different one than I was expecting. But that's all right. What do we think is evolving? Any other thoughts, huh? Growing, uh-huh.
I actually think consciousness is evolving in an incredible way and rate now.
Consciousness is evolving in an incredible rate and way now. So our minds, I was thinking of that, our minds and consciousness and our connection with the one. I often think of our bodies. You know, we stand upright. We might not have done quite as upright as we are. Our brains are supposed to be evolving and growing. What about the tools that we use? Do you think about how humankind has evolved in the different tools and the ways that we make use of them? Well, Lillian, in the reading that she just did, she looked at me again, like, I said your name. It said in that reading, the only way God can evolve a spontaneous individual is to let him or her alone and allow her to awaken to him or herself. And when I read that, I thought, that must mean that the goal in evolution is to reach that place of being a spontaneous individual. And I know Ernest Holmes uses that phrase, spontaneous individual, to counter the idea of a mechanical individual, something that's pre-planned, predestined, or predetermined as to how it's going to act or behave. He talks about us being spontaneous individuals. And to be that, to evolve to that, we need to awaken to ourselves. And when we talk about awakening to ourselves, we're often talking about the idea that we're awakening to our true nature, that part of us that is God expressing as love and joy and peace and being spontaneous. And so as I look around this room, I have the feeling that many of us, if not all of us, have spent a lot of time working on ourselves. Yes? We've done self-help books, we go to 12-step programs, we meditate, we take classes, we read, we study, we pray, often with the goal in mind of self-improvement in some way, making our lives better. We want to evolve into a better human being and into the best selves that we can be. Am I right? Most of, yeah? So how many of you have included in those goals to evolve into being a more spontaneous individual? How many of you have included in that practice more of that sacred act of play that we've been talking about all month? There goes Nancy's head, yes. So I think that play is how we practice spontaneity, and impermanence supports it. So how did impermanence get in there? Okay, really? I was thinking about this and I realized that it's impermanence that draws out our spontaneity. It's impermanence that requires spontaneity as a response. Yeah. So, as I was picturing this, if you think about it, it's play and impermanence. And I see them sort of holding hands and just skipping through our lives. And so, as I mentioned earlier this month, I'm one of those humans that's been quite addicted to permanence. I have always thought that the goal is to create something that's going to last. I have somebody that's been telling me to get rid of all the stuff that doesn't need to be permanent in my life. And I hold on to things, yes, some would agree with that. And so the idea has been to create or do or be something that's going to last. And yet, Ernest Holmes also said, and if you want to see the reference, it's on page 393, no form is permanent. All forms return into the formless. The formless is eternal. All form is temporary. There is an eternal play of life upon itself. Have you heard that here before? This is necessary in order that the mind, with the capital M, may be expressed. We are an expression of original mind, and we can all temporarily call forms into being if we will to. Indeed, we can't stop doing this, and thereby hangs the tale of good and evil. That's what those words are. So, that reminder that all form moves back into the formless, that all form is temporary. And when we talk about form, we're also talking about the body. The physical body falls under that heading of form, which means that our human form is not set in stone. It's how God is evolving through us as that spontaneous individual, and it eventually moves back into the formless. So I thought about our teaching symbol, which you can see stylized up here. It's the circle with the V coming down through the different lines. The top part is all about God, Spirit, the idea, the thought, what it is you want to plant. The middle area is the law, so we're planting it into the law. And the bottom third is where form shows up, manifestation, our bodies, the tangible, that which we create or co-create with Spirit. So again, if you look at the teaching symbol, 2/3 of the whole, because all of that is in the whole, is formless. And only 1/3 has that form. And I used to kind of think that the goal was where we teach how to do a spiritual mind treatment. So you're moving from the top into manifestation. Boom, you're done. You're dropping that seed into law, you're creating, you manifest, you're done. But that's not what Holmes is actually teaching. We create whatever form shows up, and then the form moves back into formless. It's a circle, it's a cycle. It keeps moving. So, in order for all of that, so those things that are up in the top are the God qualities, all that we create, all that the form that we know, goes back into God qualities. And the only way for that to happen is through impermanence of form. So, if we think again about what is formless, beauty, love, peace, creativity, it shows up in form, but no one form contains all beauty. No one form contains all love. And so it's that impermanence that allows that which has been created to flow back into the greater formless, the wholeness, and the all. So what does that have to do with living everyday wonder through play? Well, as I shared with you a couple weeks ago, thanks to Lillian, I actually read the book that had been sitting on my coffee table for over a year. No, look at all the markers I've got in here. So, as I read through this, which is all about making those morning altars, which is creating something out of nature when you maybe go for a walk through nature or whatever, it opened my eyes to how it is play and impermanence are holding hands and skipping through our lives, and how they are key to the human evolution on that road to expressing more fully as a spontaneous individual. So when you look at these pictures of what he's created, I'll just randomly pick one for you here. If I think, okay, doesn't it look like he might be creating for the purpose of creating beauty? There's all kinds of these in here. So here's another one. But when he talks about what he's doing, he actually talks about it under a heading called It's All Play. And he said, putting it another way, there is no predetermined way to build a morning altar, but there is an infinite number of ways to arrange beauty. Here's what I will tell you. The most useful skill to employ when creating these altars is play. Like a kid in a sandbox, the play lets me get lost in the world that I am playing within. It becomes the experience that I can be immersed in for hours. And further on, he says, I'm not trying to get somewhere. Play is all journey. Any destination I come to is purely temporary. Why? Because the play happens when I'm exploring and experimenting. The play wants to keep the game alive and for as long as possible. So let me be clear. I do not create so I can have a finished altar. I create to explore the world. I am creating from within, and anything that is made is simply a consequence of my commitment to staying in play. Now, when I read that, he's talking about morning altars, but I started thinking, could that be God speaking about playing through us and creating the form of who we are? There are infinite number of ways to arrange beauty. And the purpose is to play and experience the world through what it's creating, not necessarily an end result somewhere. Further, he said, becoming good at playing takes practice, and some of the best ways to get skillful at playing is to recognize when you've stopped playing. When that happens, he says, in those moments, I usually laugh and remind myself that I'm making art in nature. It's not that serious, kiddo. Play is a path toward release, and being creative still comes down to my willingness to let go and allow the experience to come to life. If I were to sit down and try and figure it all out beforehand, I would drive myself mad. Instead, I play as a way to loosen my tight grip on how I think things should be, and I let myself relax and witness what is born from that very place. So thinking in my mind about how Spirit is moving through us and playing through us, what an idea for me that was, to kind of let things go. And as I kept reading this, then of course we moved into the idea of impermanence. And I shared from that, but I think it's worth repeating again this idea where he says, the beauty you made isn't meant to last. There are other forces here that want to play too. You arranged everything as you wanted it, and now let change have its way with it. Yeah. All right, so talking to myself here. So the idea that the beauty that we create, that which we do, what we're allowing Spirit to do through us, isn't necessarily meant to last. It's that process. It's allowing that beauty to be born through us. That's the whole point of what we're doing. So these morning altars got me looking at an aspect of life that I really haven't wanted to look at much of my life, and that is impermanence, which to me is another word for change. Yet, like he mentioned as an example in there, and I shared it last time, is the idea of cooking a good meal. You put all this energy, if you're a creative cook, some of them are in the room, to make an absolutely beautiful meal with the intent that it's not going to stay. It's going to be eaten. It's going to shift. It's changing form. When I plant a garden, no two gardens look alike. Each year the seasons change. I put different things in different places. There's always that movement of creation through that teaching symbol back from the form into the formless. And while we're playing, it's like time stands still. If we're truly playing, that's part of the definition. We're oblivious to time. It just happens through us, and that's where I think we can awaken to ourselves, when we've moved into that space of timelessness. So all of this makes play sound like a lot of fun, doesn't it? And last week, I watched Yvette's talk from last week. I don't know if you were here or if you got to see it online, but she basically gave last week the talk I thought I was giving this week. So I, of course, had to evolve beyond that talk. But the topic was all around what comes up for us when we're asked to play or when we're looking at play in our lives. And as I had started thinking about it, I didn't realize how much stuff I had accumulated around play in my life till I started looking back at some of the things that I had experienced during play. I didn't realize there was so much that really needed to be healed. I think I'd kind of thought, oh, you grow up and you can just leave play in the dust. But as I started looking at this, I realized you don't do that if you want to evolve. And you don't leave play behind if you want to truly open to God expressing through you as that spontaneous individual. We still need play. As I had looked at play in my life, what it brought up for me were a lot of those beliefs that I had taken on back in my childhood that weren't serving me any longer. I was, like Yvette, the last person chosen to be on any team. They played dodgeball at my elementary school. And so I took on the belief that no one would want to choose me, I'm not good enough. And when I was playing outside in front of my house, I would be running up and down the street with my friends. We'd be screaming and laughing, making the noise that kids make. And my dad would call me in and say, tone it down, and you need to tell the rest of those girls to quit screaming too. So I learned that getting too wild and free meant I was going to get in trouble. And some people, I learned, have to win when they play. And if they don't, they get angry and mean. So I learned to downplay my abilities to keep peace and let others win. And I could go on and on. I wrote for 14 pages, so I encourage you to look at the role of play in your life and what beliefs did you take on that might not be serving you anymore. What was play like for you? What kind of games did you play? What were your favorite games? Were there winners and losers? I know by the time I was raising my son, they'd come up with those free games that didn't have winners or losers, but not when I was growing up. If there was a winner and a loser, how did each one react? What beliefs about yourself today can be traced back to something you might have picked up through playing as a child? And are there any areas today that could be healed? And what I was thinking about is probably healed through play, a new experience of play. Now, one of the lessons that I had repeated to me over and over and over as a child was work before play makes you happy and gay. Play before work turns you into a jerk. Yeah, y'all can laugh. Go ahead, it's okay. But that's what I heard. Work before play makes you happy and gay, and play before work turns you into a jerk. Yeah. So how true is that? Yeah, it basically puts work and play at a dichotomy. So is it possible for work to be fun? Yeah. Is it possible to bring play into our work? Yeah. So as and if you are an evolved human who is awakened to those God qualities within, such as joy and love, doesn't that spontaneous individual probably bring play into whatever they're doing? So we might be wondering, why do we spend all this time looking at our past? How does that help? We're supposed to stay in the present, and especially regarding play. But like Yvette encouraged us last week, I think as we do that and as we see the things that we've taken on and the ways that we protect ourselves now because of some of those experiences, the invitation she gave us was to lay down your arms, peel off some of that protective armor. So that is part of what we talk about when we talk about working with a practitioner as well, is the conversations that we have with a practitioner. The goal is to find those hidden beliefs that don't serve us anymore so that we can do the prayer work, we can do the thought work to shift those to something new and even maybe get some homework that says go out and play. You never know. So releasing those old beliefs that don't work. Yvette shared from Brene Brown, and I looked up some of what she had read from about play, and she talked about how play can bring out the fear of being childish and looking childish in us, and that brings up discomfort for some people. But in true play, she said, we are released from self-consciousness. And I realized that for some of us, it's that release that feels really vulnerable and really uncomfortable. I realized for me that vulnerability comes from being out of control. And so I've always felt if I was in a group of people that were getting wild and crazy and childish and playful, I'm like, where's the adult in charge? And if there's no adult in charge, it doesn't feel safe. And that's why, I'll tell you, I never drank. Because I did not want to be in a group of people that were all out of control playing and no adult was in charge. So it's not out of being whatever. It was my thing around control and play and what happens if we let loose. The other thing that I realize that I get uncomfortable about around play is that at the end of however much time we've played, there's nothing to show for it. I have no product. Somehow I learned that my time needed to be productive. I needed to have something to show for my time. Yeah, I hear a lot of sighs. Sigh and I'll take a drink of water. Yeah. So I've been working, and I'm telling you, I'm talking to myself. It's been work this couple weeks. I am beginning to see that play and spontaneity have intrinsic value. There's no need for that product. We don't have to produce. If you produce a morning altar, that's what comes out of play. It's not the goal. It's not that there is something, and that product of that is going to be blown away by the wind anyway. Last week, Yvette invited us to consider 3 different things. One, becoming more conscious of where and when and how you play in your life, because play shows up differently sometimes for us. It's not always just running around chasing a ball. So did any of you think or see or find new ways that you play in your life as you thought about that this week? Yeah? What did you think of? I have a motorcycle now. Oh, she has a motorcycle now.
I actually have a trike, a 3-wheel trike with 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel in the back.
2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back.
And we go play together.
All right, she and her husband go play. Oh, God. See, out of control. I'll bless. We'll just see perfect. How else do you all play? Yes, Pat. Taking the dogs to the dog park. Okay. Yeah. So watching your dogs play at the dog park and seeing how that works, they don't worry about it, right? Okay. Playing with your cats. Karen, I think. She said, I make the bed singing to herself. I'm making the bed, how much fun. Okay, so you've thought of different ways that you play. The other thing she suggested is when and where and how do you protect yourself from play? Did you notice any places where you might have been invited to play or had the urge but then held back for some reason? No? All right, you're letting loose. Yeah? At school. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, she's talking about working at school with, you work with high school kids, right? Yeah. High school kids, and they want to play, and she's like, we got to get to work. So yeah, that's a... Yes, they do. We learn a lot in play. And I know, like today, I'm inviting you all to stay after and do a play date with Will. And I know that I've had several people ask me, and several people are probably thinking, what are we going to do? But one of the definitions of play is spontaneity. So I've been saying, I don't know what we're going to do. Will is going to show us later. So remember that we want to be spontaneous and free to just see what he has to offer for us. The other area that Yvette challenges us in is to stretch into those places where we can have a little more fun. So I don't know if any of you were able to do that this week. Just stretch and allow a little more fun into your lives. So I'm bringing it up again. If you didn't hear her, let's think about that. So again, as I was picturing play and impermanence, I was picturing them skipping and holding hands. And I could remember how fun it was to hold someone's hand. Sometimes we had a whole line of us, and we'd skip down the road or we'd skip across a meadow. It would feel magical, like we were flying. And that's what I picture play and impermanence doing through my life, just skipping through there. And I started to feel a little release, like the impermanence was relieving or releasing, removing the weight of those long-term goals. It was removing the weight of all the shoulds and the have-tos and that holding on. I'm getting there, Carrie. It feels heavy, and that impermanence does feel lighter, and it still does feel scary. The last time that I played with my grandson, he had this new toy I'd never seen before. There were squares, and then there were triangles, and they had rims that were magnets, and you could build with them. So the magnets would hold it together, and you could make castles and buildings, and he loved to build them up and then knock them down. And he would laugh, and he'd build it up again and knock it down. And if I was trying to build something, he'd knock mine down, and he'd laugh. And I was really struggling to laugh along. It was like, oh, okay, this is play. This is what it feels like. And I realized that sometimes I'm feeling that in what's going on in the world around me today. I feel like so much energy has been put into building certain things that I thought were going to move forward, and people are knocking them down. And I feel like I think about a country like Ukraine that was developing a democracy. Someone comes in and wants to knock it down, and some people are laughing as they knock it down. And I'm sitting there going, is this impermanence? Is this what I need to also recognize as part of that flow back into just what life does as it plays upon itself? Do I need to learn from my grandson? That's where my mind has been going. Is it all just play in some form or another? I'll tell you, I don't know, but I've been thinking about it. I don't know. What I do know is that play and impermanence just keep skipping right on through my life. And I can either learn to play or it's not so fun. And so what I'm opening to is the idea that play isn't something to be guilty about or to feel like I'm wasting time with, but rather play is that sacred act. And play, when we bring that joy of play into people's lives, can save lives. And in fact, as I looked at that initial reading and we think about human evolution, what feels more evolved? Bigger war machines or learning to play together? Making room for spontaneous play in our lives. So instead of avoiding play for the fear that it's going to turn you into a jerk, I think we can bring play and the elements of play into our work and into our lives. And as we work on becoming more of an evolved human being, and as we work on ourselves, let's consider doing that by bringing in some play and then these words. Ernest Holmes, again, this is out of what he wrote, the essential Ernest Holmes, but it's from the philosophy of Ernest Holmes. So you have in mind that you've been doing all this work. He says, you and I are practitioners with a small p, meaning that we practice religious science, we practice whatever it is in our spiritual lives. You and I as practitioners can throw all of our theories and all of our books and all of our previous prayers. Now, when I think about previous prayers, I think about all those treatments that we've worked on, the things that we want to manifest in our lives. You can throw all of our previous prayers out the window now, because they are ever more about it and about it and about it. They are necessary and they are fine, but now the divine moment is come. Emerson said, when it happens, throw out all of your theories, leave them all as Joseph left his coat in the hands of the harlot and flee. For this is a transcendent moment. This is the moment of a new creation. He also said, and this is from this thing called You, today I enter the limitless variations of self-expression which the divine spirit projects into my experience. Limitless variations. Knowing that all experience is a play of life upon itself. The blooming of love into self-expression. The coming forth of good into the joy of its own being. I enter into the game of living with joyful anticipation and with enthusiasm. The game of living. And so again, I picture us entering that game of living. Just put your hands out and hold on to spontaneity, hold on to play, hold on to impermanence, and start skipping through that thing that you call your life with anticipation and enthusiasm. And so it is. And now, yes, look at this wonderful practitioner team we have. Please surround the room with your playful essence. And this is a group of playful people, I'll tell you. When we all get together, we have fun. So remember that they are here for you, and if there's any places you want to free some stuff up and get more play in your life, they're here to work with you and talk with you and play with you after the service. So let's just take a moment to go within. Yes, a nice deep breath. I heard that sigh. Release any of that anxiety that comes up with the idea of being playful, knowing that that one spirit, the one mind, that God that is love and joy is ready to play spontaneously through our lives, to lift us up in joy, to help us create beauty and make beauty through us, allowing it to just be the thing itself and allowing us to keep skipping, allowing that impermanence to allow things to flow. We just release and allow Spirit to play in us. I'm so very grateful for this awakening. I affirm for myself and for anyone else that has feelings that I do that we can play, we're open to play, we're allowing it to happen. We put that word and that intention into the law, knowing that it produces and supports us in our play and in that spontaneous evolution of who we are. And so with deep gratitude, I release these words into that playful, joyful law itself and say together, and so it is.
I can't believe the things going on. My life is kind of hectic, and the hassle is just so much fun. It's that new age stress eclectic. Sometimes I think that I'm alone, this just happens to me. But I open my eyes and look around, and hey, what do I see? You're on. Hey, willy-nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. Gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta laugh. Say, hey, willy-nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. I'm gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta laugh. Well, it's happening here and it's happening there. It's got me looking up and down. Things are shaking everywhere. Well, I can see it all around. It's not just me, it's you guys too. We all got too much on our plate. Seems the stronger we get, the more we do. It's a cruel twist of fate. I say, hey, willy-nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. I'm gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta laugh. Say, hey, willy-nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. I'm gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta laugh. Some days it seems like everything has gone right down the drain. Well, it's enough to make you wanna sing the blues on a westbound train. But you gotta get a new perspective, cut your
most effective. Some days you just gotta laugh and say, hey, Willy nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. I'm gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta laugh. Say, hey, Willy nilly, I'm having a silly, gonna cut my stress in half. I'm gonna get down funky like a funny little monkey, 'cause sometimes you just gotta, sometimes you just gotta, sometimes you just gotta laugh. Cray, you're on.
Edie, I didn't hear you. Come on, laugh, laugh, laugh.
And I have to tell you that after I released the CD that I put that song on, my mother called me and she said, I don't understand, I'm going to cut my dress in half. Well, Mom, turn up your hearing aid.
So what better person to have join us for music today, Lillian? Thank you. One of my precious playmates right here. And my friends that are going to be leaving, but I tell you, the one you heard laughing, Crayola, has taught me how to play most of the last 40 years we've known each other. So I'm very grateful to her. Thank you, Cray and Carrie, for being here and joining us, and safe travels home. Thank you all for playing today. At this point, we honor and recognize the place that we will give 10% of all that comes through the center. We are supporting Jardín de los Niños, which is a nonprofit organization with a 5-star early childhood education program certified by the Focus Program of New Mexico. They are designated as a trauma-informed care center by the New Mexico Association for Infant Mental Health. We provide early childhood education, therapeutic intervention, and comprehensive services to homeless and near homeless children from the ages of 6 weeks to 10 years, and I know that they have to be playing with them to bring that joy back into their lives. So please know that 10% of all that comes through here today will go to support that program. And we are grateful, so we will be singing, yes? I am so blessed. All right. Think about how play has blessed you as you sing this.
So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So just breathe that in. We are blessed, yes? What a joy to be here in this community, to have these people to play with in our lives, and to acknowledge the role that that has for us. So I hope that you stay after the service and play with us. And if you don't stay to play with us, I hope you go play somewhere and just stretch into the joy of play and spontaneity and just see how you feel. We'll be gathering one more week to talk about this. Next week, I believe it's Randy Granger to come play for us and with us. And so let's just say together, divine love through me
Divine love through me
blesses and multiplies
blesses and multiplies
all that I have,
all that I have,
all that I give,
all that I give,
and all that I receive.
and all that I receive.
Thank you, God, in me.
Thank you, God, in me.
Thank you, play through me.
Thank you, play through me.
And so it is. Don't forget, practitioners are here to support you after the service. And what are we singing to close out today?
You'll hear.
Okay. Spontaneous.
There was a time in my life I have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go, and let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go, and let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go, and let the Spirit run my life. My heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Beautiful. Please welcome our new members as you see them with their flowers. And thank you all. Thank you, Lillian and Sarah, one more time. That was beautiful. Yeah.